If you want to succeed, you have to shut up about it. Keep your plans secret. Don't post your wins. It's about protecting yourself from a subtle kind of destructive force, often coming from the people who are close to you. The rule of silence. Secrecy shields success. You know what it is? This is called envy, or Hassad in Arabic, jealousy in English. Hey everyone, it's Cleofi again from Cleofi Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. We've noticed that our largest audience comes from India, so we've decided to offer the podcast in Hindi and Urdu. It's not about dubbing audio. Actually, it is a separate podcast in the Urdu and Hindi languages. You can find the link in the video description. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, let's move to the next segment, which is a deep dive with Jack and Wilson. And please hit like and subscribe if you want to help us spread the word around the globe. Hey, Jack and Wilson, it's all yours.
So we've all seen it, right? That piece of advice that just seems to be everywhere online. Maybe it's on TikTok or some viral thread from a big shot CEO. And it's almost always the same. If you want to succeed, you have to shut up about it.
Yeah.
Keep your plans secret. Don't post the win. And it's not just about, say, avoiding distraction. It feels deeper.
It is deeper. It's about protecting yourself from this subtle kind of destructive force that, and this is the key part, often comes from the people you'd least expect.
The people closest to you.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to take this very modern, maybe even cynical sounding rule, the rule of silence, and we're going to unpack it.
Okay.
Because the thinking today is that secrecy is what shields success. And we want to trace the roots of that belief all the way back through some really powerful spiritual and moral traditions.
You're saying there's one core concept that ties it all together.
One core concept.
Yeah.
Poison of envy. In Arabic, Hassad.
Wow. Okay. And our sources for this they're really interesting. We've got transcripts from those viral social media threads, the ones detailing the rule of silence.
Right.
But we've also got them sitting right next to these in-depth spiritual texts that are, they're centuries old. And they're outlining the moral dimensions of envy and competition and even contentment.
It's a perfect convergence, isn't it? It's like this ancient conversation is just playing out in real time on your phone.
Yeah.
You've got the modern anxiety that sharing makes you vulnerable, and now we're discovering the ancient, deep-seated reason why that risk is seen as so real.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start with the modern side of it. What exactly are people being told to keep secret? Why is the list so comprehensive?
The list is, you're right, surprisingly exhaustive. It covers basically every major life milestone you can think of.
Right.
And that just highlights this pervasive fear of judgment or maybe interference. The source material is very clear. It says you buy a house.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. And that secrecy extends to buying a new car, to getting married.
On a vacation even.
Going on vacation, pursuing some kind of advanced training, getting a promotion at work. Essentially, any tangible sign that your status or your well-being has been elevated, that's now considered a vulnerability.
That just feels like a tremendous burden. We live in a world that is completely defined by sharing. If you go on a dream vacation and you don't post the pictures, some people would ask if it even happened. This rule of silence is asking us to actively reject that whole validation loop.
It is, and that's where the modern advice really clashes with, modern performance culture.
Sure.
This idea that success must be broadcast. It's like a fundamental part of how social media works. This advice is telling you to make a conscious, protective choice, security over public validation.
So why is the risk so high? What's the core reason for demanding this level of like a personal lockdown?
The rationale given is, it's incredibly direct and frankly pretty pessimistic about human nature. One of the most widely circulated sources puts it like this. 99% of the time, the reason our dreams don't come true when they should is that we open our mouths too early to the wrong people at the wrong times.
The mouth. The act of broadcasting is the mistake.
It's seen as the self-sabotaging act.
Yes.
Yes.
And these wrong people.
Yeah.
We usually think our inner circle, family, close friends, that's our safe space. That's where we should share.
And that is the most critical and probably the most jarring part of this advice. The threat circle explicitly includes friends. It even includes family members.
Wow.
There's this one quote that is just chilling. It says, most of your friends want to see you succeed, but never better than them.
Oof.
So in that view, sharing your success just gives this latent envy and jealousy the fuel it needs to, and I'm quoting here, feed off you and tear you down.
I have to admit, that feels deeply cynical. Is it even realistic to expect people to keep quiet about getting married or buying a home? This feels socially impossible unless the threat is, like, truly existential. Or are we just talking about a little bit of jealousy here or something more?
And that is the perfect question, because it leads us right into the spiritual origins of this whole concern. The advice is extreme, but it's designed to protect against something that traditions consider equally extreme.
Which is?
The spiritual poison known as Hassad, destructive envy.
So the modern anxiety about getting torn down is really just a secular way of saying you need to guard against this moral disease.
That's it exactly. Our sources define Hassad as a significant moral and spiritual disease of the heart. It's seen as harmful across the board, not just to the person being envied, but primarily to the envier themselves.
Okay, so we need a really precise definition here. If regular jealousy is, I wish I had what you have, what's the specific intention that makes Hassad so much worse?
This distinction is absolutely vital. Hassad is the destructive, the condemned form, because it means wishing for someone else's blessing, their favor, or their success to be removed from them. The key is that malicious desire for the other person to lose what they have.
So it's not, I wish I had that house. It's, I wish they didn't have that house.
Exactly.
Even if I don't get it myself. That sounds like active sabotage, even if it just starts as a wish.
It is the internal root of sabotage. And the spiritual sources, they explain that this destructive envy comes from malice, sure, but also a deeper spiritual flaw.
Which is?
A dissatisfaction with, let's say, the divine wisdom or decree, with how blessings have been distributed. It's basically a rejection of how the universe has handed out its favors.
And this is where the modern advice to shut your mouth suddenly makes perfect sense as a defensive strategy.
Go on.
If you reveal your blessing, you're essentially handing a potential envier a target to focus all that malice on.
You're taking preventative measures against someone else's internal poison.
Precisely. If that malice is just sitting in someone's heart, the only guaranteed way to shield yourself is concealment.
Right. But then that raises a really important question. If success automatically invites this kind of malice, aren't we just condemning all ambition, all competition?
Yes, surely there's a healthy way to want what other people have.
There has to be.
That's the critical nuance, isn't it? We talk about healthy competition, being motivated by what others achieve.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and this destructive Hassad?
And there is a very clear and a very necessary difference. The source material introduces another concept, gibta.
Gibta.
It's translated as praiseworthy envy or laudable competition. And this is the permissible, even encouraged form. It's what drives positive action.
Okay, so what makes it permissible?
Yeah.
Where is that line in the sand, intention-wise?
The line is strictly defined by what you're wishing for. Gibta means wishing to have the same blessing or knowledge or success as another person without wishing for them to lose it. You want to elevate yourself to their level. You're not trying to drag them down to yours.
Can you give me one of the examples from the sources to make concrete?
Absolutely. The texts citing the Prophet Muhammad, they give two situations where this kind of envy, gibta, is positive because it motivates good deeds.
Yeah.
The first one is desiring to be like a person who God has given wealth to and who then spends that wealth in a righteous way.
So you're not envying the money itself. You're envying the noble action, the righteous spending.
That's it. The focus is on how the blessing is used, not the blessing itself. And the second example is similar. It's desiring to be like a person whom God has given wisdom or knowledge, and they use that wisdom to judge fairly and to teach others.
So again, you want to emulate the character and the beneficial action.
You got it.
Okay, so the key difference is intention. Gibta is about building yourself up. Hassad is about tearing someone else down.
Self-improvement versus malicious resentment. And because Hassad is so purely destructive, the condemnation of it in the text is, well, it's extremely severe. It's a direct threat to your own spiritual health.
Let's talk about that severity. Why is this considered such a foundational spiritual failing?
The condemnation is strong because of what it does to the envier. There's a really powerful prophetic warning that says, beware of Hassad, for Hassad consumes good deeds just as fire consumes wood.
Wow. That elevates the danger quite a bit. It suggests harboring that malice doesn't just damage the person you envy.
Mm-hmm.
It actively cancels out the good you've done yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your own prayers, your charity. It's spiritual self-sabotage.
It is exactly that. And the gravity is so serious that the Quran itself provides a direct refuge from it.
Mm-hmm.
Surah Al-Falaq, chapter 113, is a specific prayer.
And what does it say?
It asks for protection from the evil of the envious when he envies. So the text itself acknowledges the very real external threat that this malice can pose.
And if we dig deeper into the sources, what are the root causes? Why does someone fall prey to Hassad? It can't just be random meanness.
It's not random at all. The sources point to three deep-seated spiritual issues. The first is a lack of contentment. The Arabic term is qana'a. Envy is basically the ultimate expression of dissatisfaction with your own portion in life, your risk.
So if I'm truly content with what I have, no matter what my neighbor gets, the seed of envy can't even sprout.
Precisely. The second root cause is arrogance, or kibra. Envy often involves this deep resentment that someone else was favored or elevated above you, which is really an arrogant rejection of their success and, implicitly, the wisdom that granted it.
Arrogance makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially if the person feels they were more deserving.
And the third root, well, it goes all the way back to the beginning of human fallibility. The sources point to a satanic influence.
What do you mean?
The very first act of envy in the Quran was from Iblis, from Satan, who envied Adam's status and then refused to submit. So this establishes Hassad as this primordial, foundational kind of malice.
That really puts the modern advice to shut your mouth in a totally different light.
How so?
It's not just about avoiding bad luck or office politics. It's about guarding your blessings against a force that's rooted in primal spiritual malice.
Yes. That's the external defense. But what if someone recognizes these feelings of Hassad in themselves? This deep dive has to offer more than just a diagnosis. What do the sources say about how to actually overcome it?
Right. And the scholars do. They outline some very clear prescriptive actions, which means shifting the focus from the external thing, the other person's success, to the really demanding internal work of the heart.
And the remedies start with tawhid, which is affirming God's oneness. This is the intellectual foundation.
Go.
You have to accept that all blessings come from God alone, and they're distributed according to his infinite wisdom. Resentment just can't survive in the face of that kind of absolute acceptance.
So you recognize the blessing is coming through the person, not from them.
Yeah.
It takes the person-to-person competition out of it.
That's a perfect way to put it. The second remedy is dua, or supplication, and this is a big one. The remedy is to pray for the person you envy.
Pray for them.
Yes. Ask for their success to continue, for them to be blessed even more.
That is so counterintuitive. I mean, is the difficulty part of the cure?
Absolutely. It's like spiritual jujitsu. You are deliberately forcing yourself to perform an act of goodwill that directly contradicts the malice you feel. You're changing the internal environment of your own heart.
Because you can't pray for them and wish for their destruction at the same time?
You can't. It's a remarkable solution, turning the source of your pain into a source of prayer.
What else?
The third remedy is focusing on self-improvement. All that energy you're spending resenting others, it's wasted.
Right.
The advice is to redirect it toward improving your own knowledge, your own character, your own actions. You're basically shifting from destructive Hassad to productive Gipta. Stop looking sideways and start looking forward.
And there's one more.
And finally, gratitude. Shukr. This has to be a continuous, deeply felt expression of thanks for the blessings you already have. This practice is what nurtures contentment, the qana, and it effectively starves the envy that's rooted in dissatisfaction.
This is a true deep dive into character.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate a world where success is supposed to be tagged and shared?
Mm-hmm.
The advice to shut your mouth seems to be centuries old, but the real demanding work is internal. It's about managing the jealousy you might feel and protecting yourself from the jealousy others might harbor.
That's a great summary. We started with this modern, practical, maybe a little cynical command to hide your success.
The house, the marriage, the promotion.
Right. And we traced it all the way back to this profound spiritual danger of Hassad, which is about wanting to see others' blessings removed.
And then we found the antidote. Not just in hiding, but in cultivating Gipta, that praiseworthy competition, the kind of striving that doesn't wish malice on anyone.
Secrecy protects your blessings, but contentment protects your heart.
That's it.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the ultimate goal isn't just secrecy. It's internal contentment. It's understanding that blessings are distributed according to a wisdom that's, well, it's way beyond our immediate view.
And when you achieve that true internal contentment, that qana, the fear of envy, whether it's yours or someone else's, it just starts to diminish.
It loses its power over you.
That's the real takeaway. And here's the final provocative thought for you to mull over. If success shared is success halved by jealousy, does actively applying the remedies for Hassad, like praying for the success of the person you envy, does that transform the shared blessing from a risk into a safeguard? Think about that internal shift the next time someone announces a big win.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.